Hi there. It's December 22nd, and we're continuing our journey through John's Revelation, the revelation of Jesus Christ, and we're in chapter 13, and we're reading verses 1 to 18, the whole chapter. In this chapter, in the midst of all that's going on in Revelation, two beasts appear, or two monsters. The word in Greek is therion. It's something that isn't natural, it's something that is hideous as well. And the first beast rises up from the sea. It has 7 heads and it has 10 horns. And these are the signs of something that is anti-God, something that is against God. Each of the horns has a crown on it. And the crown symbolizes worldly power, earthly power, the kingdoms of this world. But this great monster speaks blasphemy. It speaks against God, in other words. It is out to bring down God and to exalt itself. And it's interesting, John says that the dragon, that is the one that represents Satan, gives to the monster its power. And people are overawed because there seems to be some credibility in this monster. It has one of its heads has been fatally wounded and then healed again. Again, this is all very mysterious language, and we're not sure exactly what this means or what was in John's mind or his understanding. But what we do see here is that there is something that awes the people, and so the people worship Satan, they worship the dragon because of what the monster appears to have done. And so the monster establishes its authority, and also it wars against the people of God. So people are bowing down to worship it, but he's saying that he is not allowing the people of God to worship God. And then another monster arises, and this one is not as significant, and this one is acting on behalf of the first monster. And this monster is given the power and the authority, and it also seals up the whole area of commerce on the earth. And this monster imposes on people a mark or a sign. And this sign is made, it says, in the hand and in the forehead of people, and they can't transact business. They can't do business without this sign, without the mark of the beast. In the meantime, the people of God are being shut down. The people of God are being silenced. And actually, John says in the middle of this chapter, let those who have ears listen to what the Spirit is saying, that there is going to be a time of suffering, that it may be that you're called upon to lay down your life, because this is going to be a fierce persecution in this time of these monsters. And then, so the monsters are giving authority to people to trade, and without that, there is no possibility to do business. And then right at the end of the chapter, John reveals something that he says is a wisdom, is an insight, and he reveals what's called the number of the beast, which is the famous number 666. Now, that number is it's kind of a puzzle, it's kind of a riddle. What many scholars have now suggested is that if you take the Hebrew letters of the word Nero Caesar and you add them up, they come to the total 666. Remember that each of the Hebrew letters has a numeric value, and so when you add Nero Caesar up, you get to 666. And so it seems that John here is pointing back to the terrible time of Nero Caesar, and aligns these monsters with something of the spirit that was there, something of that persecuting spirit, something of that dominating spirit, that spirit of madness that was in the earth. So what John is seeing here is something of the push, something of the desire for this monster, these beasts, to displace the worship of God. There's a lot of worship connected here. The beasts, the monsters are worshipped, and of course worship belongs only to God. And so right through the scriptures we've had the story of those who demand worship and are refused it by those who are being faithful to God. Worship is so often called for by so many, and they want people to bow down and worship them. But we know, as followers of Jesus, as followers of God, that we may only worship one, and we may bow down to no other, however costly that is. we are given and we are yielded to only one, and he is holy. That means he has no rivals. Let us be unrivaled in his love and in his worship today, the one true God. Have a very good December 22nd.